While the 2020 MLB playoffs were a bit unconventional, they were still pretty exciting, featuring some of the best games and moments in recent years. That Game 4 ending was something else. Apart from the entire Dodgers organization and Brett Phillips, there were two players that came out of these playoffs looking like bona fide superstars. Those two players were World Series MVP Corey Seager and everyone's favorite Arozarena, Randy Arozarena. Not to be confused with his younger brother, Reiko Arozarena, who was a goalkeeper for 2nd Division Mexican side. Oh boy. You know what? I'll let Google Translate handle this one.
Cafetaleros de Chiapas.
Anyway, Seager and Arozarena had playoff performances to be proud of, considering the adversity they've had to overcome to get to this point. So I want to talk about the roads that these two players had to take in order to reach the level they are currently at, as well as their 2020 performances, and what we can expect from them in the future. Let's start with the most tenured player. Corey Seager was drafted out of the University of South Carolina at number 18 overall in the 2012 draft by the Dodgers. At the age of 18, he started his minor league career, and everything would just take off from there. He continued to improve through his time in the Dodgers organization. In 2014, he represented the US in the All-Star Futures game, and he won the California League MVP, which is an advanced A-level league. At this point, he was in AAA, and his manager, Razor Shines, which is a fantastic name by the way, said that Seager was in AAA, but he was playing like it was high school baseball. It was that easy for him. On September 3rd, 2015, he made his major league debut, going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. He supplanted Jimmy Rollins as the starting shortstop by season's end, as Seager became the starting shortstop in the Dodgers' only postseason series of 2015, which made him the youngest position player to start a postseason game in Dodgers history. Prior to the 2016 season, Seager was seen as the #1 prospect in the league. On June 3rd, 2016, he became the youngest shortstop in MLB history to hit a 3-home run game. By the end of June, he was named the National League Rookie of the Month, and he was named to the National League All-Star team. He even participated in the Home Run Derby, but that didn't really go that well. So by mid-July, Seager had already established himself as one of the best shortstops in the entire league. At age 22, Randy Arozarena was 21 at this time. What was he up to? Well, he was signed by the St. Louis Cardinals as an international free agent for $1.25 million. Arozarena had been proving himself in Cuba and Mexico as he was bouncing around between different leagues. In these leagues, Arozarena was playing with grown men, not teenagers, which led the Cardinals to take notice. Although he went through a lot of hardship to get to this point. At the age of 18, Arozarena was playing professional baseball in his home country of Cuba, but he was making as little as $4 per month. Still at home in Cuba, Arozarena's father passed away, and at the same time, he started to feel alienated by his Cuban team, as he was left off of the team's roster for the Caribbean Series, which is the biggest tournament for professional teams in Latin America. This combined with the fact that he was making more than his mother after his father's death at just $38 per month. He knew he had to make some drastic changes. So he fled Cuba on a boat to Mexico in pursuit for more opportunities. But this was not an easy journey for Arozarena, as he said that when you're in the ocean, the only thing you are thinking and hoping is that you land safely. Arozarena knew no one, but he eventually connected with an MLB scout who was also an overseer of player development for the Toros de Tijuana, Guillermo Armenta. After a year in Mexico, Arozarena had shown MLB scouts how talented he was. In fact, as a joke, Armenta made a challenge to Arozarena, saying if he walked on his hands from home plate to first base, a team would sign him. Arozarena did it, and Armenta would just say that Arozarena was a super athlete. Then, in July 2016, at age 21, he would be signed by the Cardinals. Arozarena's road to MLB would start in 2017. where he was an all-star in the Florida State League, which is an advanced A-level league. Sound familiar? In July 2018, he was a member of the World Team in the All-Star Futures game. Sound familiar? He began the 2019 season in AAA, and he eventually made his MLB debut on August 14, 2019, going 2 for 4. Sound familiar? He finished the season with some solid numbers, but a week into 2020, Arozarena was part of a trade that sent top pitching prospect Matthew Liberatore to the Cardinals. And now, we're at the beginning of the 2020 shortened season. Arozarena didn't make his Rays debut until a month into the season due to reasons. So now you may be thinking, what has Corey Seager been doing all this time? We left off in 2016 and Seager was on top of the world. Fast forward to 2020, Seager needs to prove himself once again after a flurry of trade rumors for Francisco Lindor. What happened? Well, after a couple of Silver Sluggers and All-Star appearances, Seager fell victim to Tommy John surgery, causing him to miss the entire 2018 season. He played most of 2019, and while he was an above-average player, it wasn't pre-surgery Corey Seager. So, both Seager and Arozarena had something to prove. Seager needed to show that the Dodgers would be making a huge mistake trading him for Lindor. And Arozarena wanted to show the Cardinals they made a mistake trading him in the first place. That leads us to 2020. Seager started the season on the opening day roster and ended up producing the best hitting stats on the Dodgers, considering players like Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy, and Jock Peterson were not producing their normal numbers. Getting Seager back to all-star level form was a huge boost for the team's offense. Just look at these percentile rankings. Pure domination. On the other side, Arozarena didn't make his Rays debut until midway through the season, but like his short stint with the Cardinals, he made quite the impression within a short amount of time. And then we look at the percentile rankings and well, he didn't get enough plate appearances to qualify for the leaderboards. Regardless, he still had a great season, but for these two guys, the magic really started in the playoffs. The only hit that Seager had in the wildcard series was a home run, but it was a hit that solidified the Dodgers' lead in Game 1, allowing them to eventually win the series. On the other hand, Arozarena was on fire, hitting .500 against the Blue Jays. In each of their respective divisional series, they each ramped up their production, but the NLCS and ALCS is where it got crazy, allowing each player to win the Championship Series MVP award in their respective league. Then, it was World Series time. Both Seager and Arozarena were doing anything they could do to will their team to victory. Although it's very difficult for a singular player to will their team through the playoffs in baseball. If it was easy, Mike Trout would have gotten a ring a long time ago. Seager and Arozarena both had fantastic World Series performances, but it really came down to who had the better supporting cast. And if Moneyball has shown us anything, the big budget teams will eventually put the low budget teams in their place. Arozarena hit 10 home runs, breaking a postseason record, but he only drove in 14 runners. Seager sits just behind Arozarena with 8 home runs, but he drove in 20 runners, the most in the 2020 postseason. If there is anything that personifies the Rays' World Series run, it's this clip. A dance battle between Arozarena and Brett Phillips while the rest of the team watches. So, what does the future hold for these two players? Both of them came into 2020 with something to prove, and they have come out of the season on top of the baseball world. Well, Seager is easier to predict than Arozarena. StatCast shows that Seager was hitting the ball much harder this season than in previous seasons. Regular season advanced metrics shows Seager among the league leaders in many categories. Also, when you combine regular season and postseason stats, Seager ranks 4th in the league in weighted on-base average, while Arozarena ranks 8th. This is some elite company, but the difference is that Arozarena has so little major league experience compared to Seager. A major difference between Seager's 2019 and 2020 performances was his ability to get the barrel through the ball rather than under the ball. His under-batted ball percentage went way down, causing his line drive percentage to go up. He also displayed an improved ability to hit off-speed pitches compared to last year, and the expected batting average doesn't signify this was some fluke. In fact, he was unlucky in some ways. Although, something that's pretty strange is the fact that while Seager faced more shifted defenses than ever, he actually produced more success against the shift. To put it simply, Seager was able to create more zone contact and hit the ball harder than he ever did in previous years. He still has some work to put in to improve his on-base percentage, but if he continues to hit baseballs at this level of production, it shouldn't be a big problem for the Dodgers. This level of production, especially for a shortstop, is what earns players 9-figure contracts. Although he's going to have to prove he can maintain this production through a full season. Arozarena is a trickier case, mainly because there isn't much data to work off of. He had some impressive regular season stats that would have ranked among the league leaders, but he didn't have enough plate appearances to qualify for these leaderboards. If we were to bring down the amount of plate appearances to 70, then Arozarena shows up among the league leaders. The leaderboard that I displayed earlier shows that Arozarena was one of the best hitters in baseball through the regular season and postseason. Arozarena is among some elite company through his first 190 plate appearances, ranking 13th all-time in weighted on-base average, although his StatCast numbers show that he likely overperformed in the regular season, as his expected batting average and slugging percentage stats are much higher than his regular numbers. Of course, you have to mention his insane postseason numbers, ranking at the top or near the top of many leaderboards. In the end, I like to think that Arozarena will be able to stay in this league for a long time. He clearly shows the ability to hit to all parts of the field, and he has some of the best sprint speed in the entire league. He's no Tim LeCastro, but he can run with the best of them. I think the odds he continues on this record pace is very low, but considering he produced similar stats in his 2019 stint, there is a chance the Rays have found an all-star caliber player. I wonder if he will follow the path of Aristides Aquino, where he had an historic month in his rookie year, but eventually fell back in the depth chart. He could also follow the path of David Freese, who had some historic postseason moments, but continued to produce at a productive level for several years, even making an all-star game, earning the respect of every person in the city he played in. We'll have to wait and see. Both of these players went through some sort of adversity to get to where they are today. Each of them are at different stages in their careers, but they each produced some of the most impressive playoff performances in recent memory. If you didn't know, Arozarena is having a biopic made about his life, although production won't begin until late 2021. I just hope by the time this movie comes out, Arozarena is still crushing baseballs and he's still spinning on his head in epic dance battles. And I wish the same for Seager, although selfishly, I'd prefer if he was on a different team. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching.